guys, gals, and non-binary pals, and welcome back to Nerd Explosion. I'm Kate.
And I'm Cameron.
And he is fully unprepared for once, so we're just gonna dive right in.
Unlike the True Crime Month, where I knew what the theme was, I just didn't know what the episodes were going to be about, but at this point, I'm totally clueless because I don't know what to do for a theme, but apparently Kate said that she's got it, so... I figure I don't know what the theme is, but hopefully it's a step in a different direction from last month, because last month was kind of heavy with all the true crime talk. So, lighten things up. We're gonna lighten things up this month. So, what do we got?
Okay, so I have been on a journey lately. I have rekindled the fiery passion that I have for reading.
No, yeah.
And since reading is typically viewed as a nerd thing, I thought we could discuss books we've read that turned into movies that disappointed us.
Okay.
Because I have several.
And I really can't think of any off the bat, but I'm sure there are definitely some.
Well, I mean, it doesn't necessarily, you don't necessarily have to have read the book to know that the movie sucked.
Well,
right?
And that's the thing,
or just movies that suck in general.
And that's the thing, I'm not as much of a book person as you are. Like, I've read books, but I'm not a huge book nerd like you are.
I am a huge book nerd. I just decorated my Kindle. I have a Kindle Paperwhite 2021 edition, in case anybody wants to know. 10 out of 10 would recommend. But I just got a new case for it, and it's a clear case, so I could put stickers on the back. And I'm just going to go through my stickers really quick because I'm really excited about them. So one is a Band-Aid that says...
you do that, I'm going to drink my Lucha Mango.
One is a Band-Aid that says fairy smut. One is a ghost coming out of a book.
Just kidding, I'm not going to drink my mango because there's like a sip left.
One says I heart books. One of them says spicy literature connoisseur. One says in my Kindle era, which is totally true. And then my favorite one says still into fairy tales, but now they're spicier.
Ain't that the truth?
I love my Kindle. Okay. I don't go anywhere without her. However, I will never, ever, ever not read a physical book. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, just nothing beats the smell of paper.
Oh my God. Cracking open an old book and just taking...
Which is funny because when I was a lot younger, I used to make fun of those type of people, but I get it. Now, I get it now. I get it.
There's just something so satisfying about the smell of a book.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Oh, before we get into this, I almost forgot new episodes every Saturday, blah, 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 you know what to do. Anyway.
Yeah, sorry, I'm new at the intro. So the first book I wanted to go over that turned into a movie that, in my opinion, sucked ass was The Lightning Thief.
I don't think I ever saw that, but it's been on my radar.
I was so excited when The Lightning Thief came out.
That's not Percy Jackson, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Percy Jackson and Lightning Thief.
I think I watched the original movie that came out, and then I know right now there's a series on Disney Plus.
I have not watched the series.
A lot of people are saying it's pretty good. Not like anything spectacular, but it's not bad from what I heard.
Yeah. So my issue with the movie is that, first of all, I am firmly in the camp that the book is always better than the movie. 9 times out of 10, the book is better.
Well, yeah, because I could kind of see, and I kind of disagree with the people that are, that adamant about it, because they're like, oh, the book is so much better than the movie. I'm like, well, I don't think it's necessarily the book is better. The book is just more detailed than the movie.
The book is better.
Okay.
Anyway, so my issue with my biggest pet peeve is when movies change a character.
Yeah.
Like physically change a character. So Annabelle.
I actually, now that you mentioned that, I have something in the back of my mind, but I'll let you do your point. And now that you're looking at it, I just thought of something, changing, like something about a character. I actually saw a TikTok the other day from Harry Potter TikTok. Mm-hmm. That because in the book, Harry has green eyes, I think, or blue eyes, maybe. Or green. I think they're supposed to be green. But and apparently they were gonna do that in the movie. Like Chris Columbus, the director, actually was gonna have Daniel Radcliffe have green contacts to match, Harry's description in the book.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why Harry's eyes aren't green in the movie is because the contacts they gave Daniel Radcliffe, he was allergic to. So they figure instead of having him suffer, they would just, leave it be. And so a lot of people who are mad, like, oh, Harry's eyes are the wrong color. I'm like, well, yeah, because they have to be because
he was allergic to the contacts.
Because he was allergic to the contacts.
But Daniel Radcliffe has blue eyes. So to me, blue and green is like, okay, like my sister's eyes are blue, but some days they're green.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So here is the Google description, and I misspoke. It's Annabeth, not Annabelle. Annabeth Chase.
I'll say Annabelle is that horror movie with the doll.
Yeah. So Annabeth is described as being athletic and having curly blonde hair like a princess's, tan skin, and stormy gray eyes. So tell me why in the book she was tall, long dark brunette hair, and brown eyes.
I mean, the only explanation for that is, actor best suited for the role, I guess. And the directors were just like, the directors are probably just like, meh, whatever.
Like the whole reason. So just a brief synopsis of
it's a Chris Hemsworth in the first Thor movie all over again.
Right. So the Lightning Thief and Percy Jackson series in general is these kids go to this camp because they're all demigods. They're all
that much
children
I remember.
of the Greek gods. So like Percy, for example, is the son of Poseidon.
Mm-hmm.
Annabeth is the daughter of Athena. It's been a minute since so her father is the mortal Frederick Chase and her mother is Athena. The reason that it's the physical description is so important, in my opinion, is because these characters, the children in the books that go to the camp, are meant to look like their godparent.
Yeah.
Right? So the fact that you changed the physical description of one of the main characters just floored me. Also, the movie cut out like 50+% of the book.
Well, I think that's why that doesn't bother me, because I feel like that's always the case with, books that turn into movies. Like you can only fit so much into like however long of a movie, like
and I get
hour and a half, 2 hour long movie.
But a lot of the plot that they cut out was important to the story. So I felt that part of the movie, had I not read the books first, I wouldn't know what the hell was going on.
And a lot of that too could be in deleted scenes too. Like maybe they included a certain thing from the book and they filmed it and everything, but then they cut out everything. Or they cut it out at the last minute because it didn't fit into like the editing, or the scene just didn't exactly go how they wanted.
So another book series that was turned into a movie that, and you already kind of touched on, make no mistake, I love the Harry Potter movies.
Mm-hmm.
Love them.
Even though Rowling is a transphobic piece of shit, but that's okay. That's okay.
J.K. Rowling.
We the fandom own Harry Potter now.
But I loved those movies. However,
I mean, I still really enjoy them, but it's one of those things where like I could definitely enjoy, appreciate the art, but not the author.
Yes. However,
appreciate the art, not the artist, is what I meant to say.
If given the choice, I'm gonna pick the book 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah, that is true. Because it's a lot more descriptive with stuff. I mean, like in the movie, like you get to see everything, but then the book is definitely a lot more descriptive. You can like use your head.
Although the one time that doesn't work is when you realize that the book was written from an English perspective. So there's one scene when Filch is like, and I can't remember the exact word, but it's basically a word for like paddling. Like he's paddling down when I think it was in 2. When the hall flooded.
Oh, yeah.
And when I read it, I was like, is he just eating kids down the hall. Like, what are we doing here? But in reality, he was.
That would be so funny. Just like if that was in the book and they put that in the movie, Filch just fucking throwing kids down the halls of Hogwarts.
Right.
I know one major thing from the Harry Potter books is that there was, I believe it was in Chamber of Secrets, there was a whole part of the story that was around Valentine's Day. And there was, I forget the ghost name, which is, one of the ghosts that goes around Hogwarts. There was a ghost that was, I think, Peeves. Peeves or something like that. He was like a prankster ghost or whatever that was like tormenting students at Hogwarts. And they kept that, they didn't include that in the movie. Probably for time constraints, but that would have been, I know that's what a lot of people hated about the movie.
I just don't appreciate when movies take liberties. Like, I feel like if you're gonna like a book enough to make it into a movie, do it justice. And that's what I really appreciated about the Deathly Hallows, because I read the Deathly Hallows before I saw the movie, because I'm a psycho and I cannot watch a movie without first reading the book.
Well, yeah, because then the movie come out like a year or two after the book came out.
Yeah, but I like that the Deathly Hallows was a 2-part movie because they truly cut as little out of the story as possible.
Well, yeah.
I mean, the movies were pretty true to the book, but like in the Goblet of Fire, I have always felt that the whole ball scene in the movie made 0 sense. And then when I went back and reread the story, I was like, oh, that's because they cut out 95% of that whole interaction.
Oh yeah, because I mean,
because at one point, Hermione's dancing with Crumb, right?
Yep, Victor Crumb.
And then all of a sudden she's pissed at Ron and pushing both of the boys to bed. And it's like, okay, well, we missed an entire interaction here.
Well, they kind of briefly go about that because Hermione goes up to, she's talking with Victor Crumb and then he walks away and she's all happy. And then Ron makes some like backhanded comment and that's what gets her heated. So they have the whole heated debate.
Yeah, but if you read the book, there's so much more to it than that.
It's like a longer interaction.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because
in the movie, like it made Hermione seem a little bit bipolar.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't say bipolar. I mean, Ron was kind of a dick about the whole thing. Yes. But I know, I feel like the whole Cedric Diggory thing too would have been longer in the book.
It was, I think, yeah.
I will say, out of any of the Harry Potters, I don't know if you had more to say on Goblet of Fire, but can I just say, out of the whole movies, I definitely think Half-Blood Prince is definitely not the strongest.
No, but the book was phenomenal.
Yeah, the book was pretty good. The movie was probably not the strongest in the series. Definitely not my favorite. One of my, I think out of all of them, probably one of my favorites that's up there is like Order of the Phoenix.
Order of the Phoenix was a good movie.
What was Half-Blood Prince the one before Deathly Hallows? Or was there something else?
So it was it was Sorcerer's Stone, Chamber of Secrets, Prisoner of Azkaban, Goblet of Fire, Order of the Phoenix, Half-Blood Prince. Oh yeah, and then the Deathly Hallows. I guess there are only 7, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
those
get confused because there's 8 movies.
But Half-Blood Prince definitely, out of the movies, was definitely not my favorite.
See, and that's so funny that you say that because Half-Blood Prince was my favorite book in the series.
I mean, there are parts in Half-Blood Prince I liked, but then there's other parts in the movie that I'm just like, I don't know. Like the whole thing after Harry drinks the liquid luck, while funny, definitely just kind of kills the tone.
Oh my god, that was my favorite. Well, then by all means, sir, come with. Through the front door, sir.
Which is funny. the scene right after he tastes it, and he's like, "Oh, I'm feeling good," and Ron and Hermione are like, and then he's leaving the common room, and 2 random students walk in, and he's like, "Hi!" Like he's just like super peppy for no reason.
My favorite interaction is between him and what's that professor's name?
Oh God, I know it. I just can't think of the name. Slughorn.
Yeah, when he's like, how did you get out here? And Harry just goes, through the front door, sir. And then he was like, okay, I'm off to, I fancy seeing Hagrid. I fancy paying him a visit or something. And he's like, well, I can't let you wander the grounds at night. And he goes, well, then by all means, come with. Like, he's just like, oh my God, it's not complicated.
Yeah, and the whole
So
thing with
funny.
Hagrid and the spider. He's like, it's the letters I reckon, steers the phone. And then Harry, not to mention the pincers.
Not to mention the pincers. Well,
Like-
I think it's to insinuate, like, it's, quote, liquid luck, like liquid courage, like being intoxicated or having your inhibitions lowered.
Yeah. But I will say that whole scene, while funny, it kind of killed the mood for me because parts of this is supposed to be serious. It's like, okay, who's the half-blood prince? What is Voldemort doing?
Right.
Like, and just that whole thing would just, I don't know. I mean, you could argue too that parts of Goblet of Fire were kind of like that too, with, you know, them all being in their awkward teenager phase.
Yeah, and I think that was the whole point. I don't know.
Or
At least
like
it
the
seemed
ones-
like it from the book.
Like the one scene where Harry's staring at Cho Chang,
Yeah.
and then, you know, they look at him and he smiles back, but he just goes blup with all the water in his
Water comes
mouth.
out.
I'm just like, I mean, yeah, I just suppose you could use that argument with Goblet of Fire, but the thing with Goblet of Fire is it's not my like top favorite, but it is, you know, when we first get to see Dumbledore, or not Dumbledore, Voldemort,
Like fully formed, yeah.
like fully like in the flesh, like guess who's back? Back again. Voldy's
Voldy's
back.
Tell your friends. Yeah, no, the movies were good. I feel like for the most part they stayed pretty true to form. They cut a lot out, especially of Goblet of Fire.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I don't like the liberties that they took because in the book, in the Goblet of Fire, the scene where it spits out Harry's name, right? In the book, Dumbledore walks up quietly.
I knew
to
you were
him
going to touch on this.
because it pisses me off. Because in the book, Dumbledore
Did you
quietly
put your name in the
walks up to
Goblet of
him
Fire?
and says, Harry, did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire?
It's like
To which Harry responds, no, sir, I didn't.
it's like the TikTok just, did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire? Dumbledore asked calmly, and then immediately cuts to the movie scene just, Harry, did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire?
Yeah, and he's like angry about it. And it's like, that's the character of Dumbledore is supposed to be very soft-spoken and very collected at all times. Even when even in
Roses are red. I'm not a liar. Did you put your name on the Goblet of Fire?
oh my god, see, this is why I can't get nothing done. Even when he's asking Snape to kill him, spoiler alert, Snape kills Dumbledore.
Spoilers? God.
Even when he's asking Snape to kill him, and it seems like he's pleading with him for his life, he's really not, because
But
he
yeah,
and
'cause
Snape
he's telling
knew
him, like,
the whole
do
time.
this.
But he wanted Snape to be the one to kill him, so Draco did not have to carry that burden.
Severus, after all this time, always.
Oh God, rest in peace, Alan Rickman. You were truly a gift. And then to find see, I think that's why Half-Blood Prince is my favorite, is because you find out that Snape was not the bad guy this whole time. This whole time he was doing everything in his power to protect Harry because of how desperately in love with Lily he was. And
Well,
that's
I
why
mean, you
his
find
dying
that-
words to Harry are, "You have your mother's eyes."
And that's from the book, right? You find out in the book. Well, in Deathly Hallows is when he tells Harry he has his mother's eyes.
Or yeah, in the Deathly Hallows.
And that's basically in Deathly Hallows when Harry realizes that Snape this whole time has been kind of looking out for him.
Yeah.
Because he looks into his past because he got
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. That was the
tears.
Deathly Hallows.
He got the tears from Snape and looked into the pensieve or whatever it was, and kind of looks at Snape's history and finds out that he was very in love with Lily, and
that
his dad was
James
kind of
was
a dick.
fucking asshole.
His dad was a dick. You know, James Potter was a dick.
And that's why it's so touching in the epilogue when he names his child Albus Severus.
Well, yeah, he's like, oh yeah, the line was like, I named you after the two greatest headmasters Hogwarts has ever seen.
Yeah. Even though before that, he yelled at Snape, "How dare you stand where he stood?"
Yeah, he literally berated Snape for standing where Dumbledore stood, and he still had bad respect for him.
Well, yeah, because Snape pretty much said as much when he was dying, and in the book it's a more in-depth conversation if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
But he basically says to him, and that's the first thing he says to him too, is he asks him, so the first thing Snape ever says is, "What would I get if I added powdered root of asphodel to an infusion of wormwood?" According to Victorian flower language, asphodel is a type of lily, meaning "my regrets follow you to the grave," and wormwood means absence, and it's typically symbolized bitter sorrow.
So basically,
he basically says, the first thing he says to Harry, roughly translated, is, "I bitterly regret Lily's death."
which is definitely like a reach for stuff. It's definitely like, if you look, you really look way into it, because it could be just a normal question, but there's obviously there's a tension there. Like, it was intended to mean something else.
Yeah. And they did Snape so dirty throughout that whole series. They really disrespected my boy. But he was a Death Eater, kind of. I mean, he was always a double agent, and Harry realizes that after he
was working, quote unquote, for Voldemort, but kind of as a double agent, just to kind of be a man on the inside.
Because he always, and that's why his Patronus was a stag or a deer.
It's also talking about stuff taken out of Harry Potter, either books or movies. One scene that I learned about recently that I'm kind of upset that they didn't include in the final movie of Deathly Hallows. So there's the part where Voldemort's talking to everybody and he's bragging that he killed Harry, and then Harry comes to life. He comes back to life, right?
Because he has a resurrection stone, yeah.
Yeah, because he has a resurrection stone. Apparently, there's a deleted scene there's a deleted part that they left out of the movie where Draco picks up a wand and tosses it to Harry. So, like, Draco had the last hit, because in the whole thing... I know,
and I was so mad they left that out of the movie, because that scene was so powerful.
Because we found out, too, like, with Deathly Hallows and, like, Half-Blood Prince, that Draco isn't the bad guy that he was originally, and the only reason he's doing stuff with Voldemort and fighting with Harry, because he feel like he has to. Otherwise, his family's going to suffer.
If you look into it, and I think it's more clear in the books, but Draco idolized Harry.
Yeah.
And he was so excited to get to meet him, and he wanted to be friends with him, and then his father was basically like, "No, you're better than these people, and, we have a duty to our pure bloods, blah, blah, blah." But Draco, you talk about character development. Oh my God. Okay, anyway, I feel like that's enough Harry Potter.
Right.
Did you ever read Where the Red Fern Grows?
It's been a long time, but yeah, I read it at some point. I feel like I read it in school at some point.
Phenomenal book. Tearjerker. Movie? It was okay. I mean, the movie was very old school. I think it came out in like the early 70s or something.
Yeah.
Let me look it up, actually. See, we're just kind of riffing. We didn't really have a plan.
Yeah. I mean,
early 70s. It came out in 74.
I mean, why not?
And then it was redone in 2021.
Dorian, do you have something to say?
Did you ever read... Okay, so let's talk about... Because this was brought up last night.
He had something to say.
This was brought up last night, and I wanted to know your opinion. I think you kind of touched on it when we were at dinner, but The Catcher in the Rye.
The Catcher? When did I mention The Catcher in the Rye?
Ryan brought it up.
Oh,
and we were kind of talking about it.
I never mentioned I don't think I ever read Catcher in the Rye.
So Catcher in the Rye is, in my opinion, the single worst book ever written. This main character, Holden Caulfield, is supposed to be like the fucking voice of a generation, and he's in reality just a fucking whiny, spoiled bitch.
I love those, like, when you look at something that you used to enjoy as a kid, but then you look back on it as an adult, you're like, wow, this kid's kind of whiny.
Oh, I didn't enjoy it. When I read it in high school, I was like, this kid fucking sucks. Why is this book so highly regarded?
Yeah.
Like, he's mad that he got kicked out of school and he doesn't want to tell his parents, so he can't go home for Christmas. And then he hires a hooker, or excuse me, a sex worker. They called her a hooker in the book. But so he hires a sex worker, can't go through with it, and cries. Then her pimp comes, beats his ass. He runs away, and then to the reader says, well, I could have beaten him up. I just didn't feel like fighting him. Like,
My
bitch,
God.
First of all, no. Second of all, have some self-awareness, please. That book sucked.
Was there a movie?
I don't know. Maybe.
I feel like that's definitely one of those books that would have become a movie, but I don't know. I never really paid attention to that.
Fuck you, J.D. Salinger. Book sucks.
Tell me how you really feel. It doesn't look like there was a movie. No, I'm not.
No. Probably because the book fucking sucked ass.
The only thing I'm getting, as far as like, because I searched Catcher in the Rye movie, the only thing I'm getting is an IMDb page for the Catcher in the Rye video 2008. But it's,
I have no idea.
But then this little picture says Rebel in the Rye, so I'm like, okay, what do I believe?
What is the truth?
Wait, is Rebel in the Rye the same thing? Oh, okay. Rebel in the Rye, 2017. Author J.D. Salinger relates a reclusive lifestyle after the success of his popular controversial novel Catcher in the Rye. So it's not an adaptation of Catcher in the Rye. It's about J.D. Salinger himself.
Your book sucked.
But as soon as you mention, now, we're still talking about movies based off of books where the movie sucked. The only one that comes to mind for me, and this might be a hot take, is Twilight.
I hoped this was going to come up.
I did not enjoy Twilight at all.
Twilight?
I enjoyed, I read the books. I was not as into the books as obviously everyone else. And the movies I wasn't necessarily a fan of either.
So I read the books because I was the target demographic when those books came out.
Mm-hmm.
Stephenie Meyer, great author. Love her.
Oh yeah, she's a great author. That's why I definitely love the books.
Twilight, the books, I don't know that I would enjoy them now.
Sorry for any background noise. My neighbors are assholes.
So just to give you kind of a context of like the books that I read, audience, I just finished Haunting Adeline and the sequel Hunting Adeline, which is very much a dark romance with like an entire page of trigger warnings. Mm-hmm. I live for that shit. Okay, I am 100% a dark romance girly. I'm here for the masked men chasing me through the woods. Twilight, I think, is considered like the G version of dark romance.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see what you mean.
Right? Because it's like the vampires and the werewolves, yada, yada, yada.
Well, yeah, because it's made for like teenagers, basically.
Yeah.
Like teenagers and young adults are their target demographic.
So I think it would be, and also right now I'm reading the Savage Angels MC book series, which also chef's kiss, so good. So I don't know that I would enjoy Twilight now, but I can say the movies sucked. Hated all of them. Hated them.
Like, not to, not any of the actors' fault, because a lot of the actors in the movie, like, they did their best. Like, Robert Pattinson.
I wouldn't say Kristen Stewart did her best.
I was just going to get that. Like, Robert Pattinson, he did his best. I definitely enjoyed it because, I mean, for me, Robert Pattinson, the first thing I ever saw him in was Harry Potter.
Cedric Diggory, yeah.
He was Cedric Diggory. Dickory Dock, the mouse ran up the
Although
clock.
I will say, it looks like, we haven't seen it yet, but it does look like he played a very good Bruce Man Batwing.
Oh yeah, him as Batman. That's what I've heard. He did a pretty decent Batman. But in Twilight, like Taylor Lautner, Like, considering the
Bella,
only
where the
thing,
hell you been, Loca?
considering the only thing I saw Taylor Lautner in before that
Was Spy Kids?
No,
Oh.
no, was Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Oh my god, I forgot he was in that.
Yeah, he was Shark Boy. I mean, I think it was done
Oh
by
no,
the
he
same
wasn't in
people.
Spy Kids. I was thinking Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Well, I think it's because Shark Boy and Lava Girl are done by the same people, essentially.
And this Lava Girl is played by the same actress that is in
No, not the same one
No?
from Spy Kids.
getting my child actors mixed up.
But yeah, Kristen Stewart in that movie, like, God, she tried her best.
I don't know
But
that she did.
she just, it wasn't, like, the way she went about it, she just seemed way too awkward, you know?
Yeah.
But it was just, I don't know. Like, it could have been done better.
It
And
could have
also,
been better.
why do we need the blue tint over everything? Like, the first
To
Twilight
make it spooky.
Like, I don't think the rest of the movies had it, but the first movie just had a weird blue tint over everything.
Also, I
to
have
make it emo and dramatic.
because it was supposed to be Washington and it was supposed to be like
it's supposed to be
rainy and
Seattle,
gloomy.
Washington.
Yeah, Grand Forks, Washington. Put some
And the people
respect
around
on
that
it,
time actually go to Seattle. Like, this ain't blue at all.
right?
Twilight lied to me.
No, so the other thing that pissed me off about that whole series, books and all, is the fact that I grew up with Dracula. I grew up with Van Helsing. I grew up with like actual scary vampires, right? So the fact that these vampires,
Actually, vampires do not, you're supposed to burn in the sun. Vampires don't sparkle.
the fact that these vampires couldn't go out in the sun because their skin was sparkly was the biggest crock. I remember reading that in the book and thinking, huh? That's why you can't go outside because you got some body glitter on? Kiss my whole ass.
And I kind of get into that too, or thinking back to the whole acting thing. Like Robert Pattinson, a lot of people will shut on his acting, but I think that was just like the lines he was given. It was just the direction he was given, because he's not a bad actor.
No, and I think he's even been on record saying that Twilight was not his proudest moment.
I mean, it was big, don't get me wrong. It was a big success, but like, at what cost?
Were you Team Jacob or Team Edward?
I was Team Jacob, for sure. Because I like wolves.
You're like, whoops.
I like wolves.
I was Team Emmett, actually. I was in love with him.
Team Emmett.
I wanted to be Rosalie so bad.
Oh my god. And god, can we talk about god, which one is it in? Is it New Moon or Breaking Dawn? The one where Bella finds out she's pregnant and finds out that
Breaking Dawn.
finds out that Jacob imprinted on her daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And he calls her Nessie, and then Kristen Stewart, in the worst delivery I've ever heard of a line, was like, "You named my daughter after the Loch Ness Monster?"
I mean, you named her Renesmee. What did you expect her nickname to be?
Weren't expecting people to call her Nessie at all.
My daughter after the Loch Ness Monster?
I just...
Well, and I love how that even though Edward didn't necessarily love Jacob, he was like, it's actually kind of okay that he imprinted on my literal infant daughter because now I know that she's protected by the pack.
Yeah, because he's a cock.
You heard it here first, folks. Edward Cullen is a cuck. Yeah, no, those movies sucked ass, and I don't think I would enjoy the books now that I'm older and now that I read decidedly more dark.
Well, Stephanie Meyer is
She
stepped
did,
away from stuff involving
she did
that, right?
write one of my all-time, well, probably not my all-time favorite, but definitely top 50 books, The Host. Oh my god, that was so good.
Is that the one where like there's this couple, but one of them's like a alien or something, or is it
No.
a secret society, or am I thinking of a different story? There's one that's like that. It's like these two people get together, but one of them's like actually part of like a secret alien society or something.
No, so let me read you the synopsis here because it was so good. So The Host is a 2008 science fiction romance novel by Stephanie Meyer. The book is about Earth in a post-apocalyptic time being invaded by a parasitic alien race known as souls, and follows one of the souls' predicament when the consciousness of her human host refuses to give up her body. There's a sequel, it looks like. Oh, just kidding. But that book was real good. I would read that again in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah, this is the movie I was thinking of. So I mean there were aliens, I guess. I just couldn't remember the movie. Right.
I never saw the movie.
Did you not? I thought we saw it together.
The Host?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I thought we did, but oh well.
Must have been your other wife.
It was, I don't know. I don't remember much of the movie.
It sounds like it was a great movie then. Left an impression.
And to be fair, I didn't really pay attention much to the movie either, but yeah, I don't remember much of the movie.
Also, there's a John Sanford.
There's a microphone there.
Completely hit my face on my mic. I've read all except for the newest ones of the John Sanford Rules of Prey series.
Yeah.
And it follows Minneapolis detective Lucas Davenport, who is fine as wine, by the way, through his solving of many murders and such. But he's also a game developer, so he's like loaded. But there is a movie based on that book where Lucas Davenport is played by Mark Harmon. And I am in love with Mark Harmon. So I need to find that movie and watch it. I think it's just Rules of Prey that has a movie.
Oh, I see.
Oh, it was Certain Prey that had the movie.
Interesting.
Certain Prey was so good.
Interesting. Eyebrows.
So, fun fact, the Rules of Prey, according to Mad Dog, who was the serial killer in the first book. Number 1, never kill anyone you know. Number 2, never have a motive. Number 3, never follow a discernible pattern. And number 4, never carry a weapon after it's been used.
The more you know.
Yeah, if anybody's into like crime dramas / romance, the Prey series by John Sanford, I would 10 out of 10 would recommend.
I don't know if you had any more bad movie adaptations, but I found a thing from Stream Rant. That's the 25. It says 25 of the worst book to movie adaptations ranked.
Oh yeah, lay it on me. I'll give you my opinions as we go through.
Okay, so first on our list, they have Dune from 1984. With the headline here,
Dune.
It's too much for 2 hours. Let's see. They say David Lynch's adaptation of Dune is a bold attempt to visualize Frank Herbert's complex universe, marked by its ambitious scope and distinctive visual style. Though the film has faced criticism for its deviation from the source material and narrative challenges, such as telling the whole story in just 2 hours, it has cultivated a cult following that appreciates its efforts to tackle themes of power, ecology, and human destiny. Lynch's Dune underscores the daunting task of bringing dense, epic science fiction to the screen, reflecting both the potential and pitfalls of adapting beloved literature into film. Yeah, I think the only Dune I've ever seen was the original. I haven't seen any of the new ones with Timberland charcuterie.
With Timberland Chalamet.
With, Timothée Chalamet and Zendaya. I haven't seen the new ones at all, but...
Although, can we talk about Zendaya for a minute?
Damn.
She could get it.
Sheesh.
Not only does she have more talent in her pinky than most people have in their entire bodies, but she is so fucking real and down to earth. I'm obsessed with her. I also love her as Jules in Euphoria.
Mm-hmm.
Not Jules, Rue.
Do we just appreciate Mary Jane Parker in the new Spider-Mans, which I heard she's coming back for.
Even though Tom Holland's not going to play Spider-Man?
Well, I think he might be coming back. I don't know. There's a lot of different things with Spider-Man. I heard Zendaya's probably going to come back as Mary Jane, but there's also Sam Raimi is also coming back to do another Spider-Man, probably with Tobey Maguire. So not only are we getting Zendaya back, but we're gonna possibly see a new Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Which I am actually excited for, as long as they don't fuck it up.
As long as they don't fuck it up.
And the fun thing about this is that I think that this time it'll actually be in the MCU.
My favorite was it Far From Home, or no? Into the what was the newest Spider-Man where all three of them were?
It was let's see. There was I think it was No Way Home.
Was it No Way Home?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
there was Spider-Man Homecoming, and then Far From Home, and then No Way Home.
Yeah, so No Way Home, my favorite scene from that was when Tobey Maguire was reintroduced, and he was like, "Hi, I stepped through your portal. Oh, it's gone now." And I was like, "You're so pure and sweet."
One of my other favorite things too is like when they're talking about the webbing thing, and he asks about like the web shooters, and he just does it over his wrist, and he's like, "Yeah," and he's like, "That just came out of you," and Tobey Maguire Spider-Man is like, "Yeah, you guys don't have that." Basically, making fun of the fact that he doesn't need web shooters, but Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland Spider-Man do.
Right.
Anyway, going back to this list.
Because he's the OG.
This one I don't remember much of either, but probably for good reason. John Carter, 2012.
Never saw it.
John Carter, inspired by Edgar Rice Burroughs' A Princess of Mars, ambitiously brought to life the fantastical world of Barsoom. Despite its pioneering source material, which influenced many modern superhero stories, John Carter struggled at the box office and received mixed reviews. It aimed to blend epic science fiction with adventure, showcasing the tale of a Civil War veteran transported to Mars. While the movie boasted impressive visuals and action sequences, it faced challenges in connecting with audiences, leading to its perception as a missed opportunity in translating Burroughs' vision to the screen.
Sounds dumb.
It was also released by Disney, so... And I love in all these movies, too, it shows you like where you can watch these movies. They're like, hey, all these bad movies, if you want to see it for yourself, here's where you can find it. But yeah, it's basically about this guy who was a American Confederate Civil War captain. He got transported to Mars and is dealing with all that.
Okay, that was his first mistake, was being on the wrong side of that war, but whatever.
Next one, number 23, The Black Dahlia from 2006.
I desperately wanted that movie to be good because I'm obsessed with that case.
In post-war Los Angeles, LAPD detectives Bucky and Lee delve into the haunting case of the Black Dahlia murder, uncovering dark secrets that blur the lines between love, betrayal, and obsession. As the investigation unfolds, alliances fracture, and shocking revelations come to light, propelling Bucky into a perilous quest for truth. In a city of illusions and hidden desires, Bucky must confront his own demons while navigating a labyrinth of deception to uncover the sinister forces behind the grisly crime.
Except that case has no resolution, so...
Now, talking about the movie, despite a talented cast and the director's renowned flair for suspense and visual style, the film struggled to convey the novel's complex plot and emotional depth, receiving mixed reviews for its execution. Let's see, Black Dahlia ultimately fell short of expectations, illustrating the challenges of adapting Elroy's dense, layered narrative into a coherent and engaging film experience.
Kale Surprise.
Sorry, ScarJo. Can't save that one. Next one, The Time Machine, 2002. The Time Machine, directed by Simon Wells, a direct descendant of H.G. Wells, brings to screen the classic sci-fi tale of time travel and human evolution. The 2002 adaptation aimed to modernize the story with cutting-edge CGI and a new narrative twist, focusing on a Victorian inventor propelled into a distant, post-apocalyptic future. Despite its ambition and visually engaging set pieces, the film was criticized for lacking the depth and philosophical nuance of the original novella. While it offered moments of spectacle and adventure, The Time Machine struggled to fully capture the imaginative spirit and thematic richness of Wells's work. Going down this list now, I don't know if you'll agree with this or not. The Great Gatsby, 2013.
I have fucking opinions about that.
Great Gatsby, that's Leo DiCaprio. It was based on a book by F. Scott Fitzgerald, which was written in 1925. The film received polarizing reception upon release, but won 2 Oscars at the 2014 Academy Awards. Let's see why they think it did bad. Similar to its predecessors, the 2013 film received unfavorable reviews from many, especially book lovers. Despite attaching Leonardo DiCaprio and Tobey Maguire, the film sacrifices substance for style.
I forgot Toby was in that.
I totally forgot too. It's been a while since I've seen it though. However, the book will be going into the public domain in 2021, which means that more adaptations are undoubtedly on the way. So obviously this article was a little bit old, but yeah, I guess Great Gatsby is public domain now. So maybe I could see them not doing an adaptation of Great Gatsby anymore because of how this went.
So here's my opinion. The Great Gatsby was a phenomenal book. F. Scott Fitzgerald is a fucking mad bastard genius, okay? The movie, I don't even think they bothered to read the book. The only thing similar to that book and movie was the fact that it was called The Great Gatsby, and it was a 1920s party theme. If I had not read the book, I'd be like, what the fuck is going on here? What's so great about this Gatsby guy?
What's so great about this Gatsby guy? Speaking of Great Gatsby, isn't there a whole theory that Jack from the Titanic survived and became Gatsby?
Yeah, but I think that's only because Leo played
It's only
both.
because it's the same actor for both roles. Ooh. So I'm not going through this whole list because a lot of these I don't recognize. I got to one that I have some feelings. I have some opinions about. The Hobbit from 2012.
Okay. What are your opinions?
How dense those books are. I mean, if you look at The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings, how dense those are. Like, I'm perfectly fine with them not including every single detail from that, because those are big books. Can you imagine? Like, if you included every single thing in the books in those movies, either Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, those would be like days-long movies. But I guess with the Hobbit movie, one thing to highlight here is a book that shouldn't have been, a book that shouldn't have been 3 movies. Let's see. Warner Brothers split the 310-page novel into a 3-part trilogy, overstuffing the relatively simple original plot with additional characters and plot lines. These choices left a sour taste that hasn't aged well in the mouths of many long-term Tolkien fans who hold the book close to their hearts.
Speaking of Tolkien, I have his quote on our wall.
Oh yeah, the "Not all who wander are lost."
Can I read you the full quote? Because I didn't realize that there was more to it.
Is that just a quote from him, or would it be a quote from like either The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings?
I feel like it was a book quote, but I don't remember from what.
Yeah.
So the full quote is, not all that is gold does not glitter. Not all those who wander are lost. The old that is strong does not wither. Deep roots are not reached by the frost. From the ashes a fire shall be woken. A light from the shadows shall spring. Renewed shall be the blade that was broken. The crownless again shall be king.
I started laughing.
That's actually beautiful.
It is actually. I only started laughing because I was thinking of a SpongeBob moment when you said like all that glitters isn't gold or whatever. There was
all that is gold does not glitter.
There was a SpongeBob episode. I forget what episode it is, but there's a moment where SpongeBob is just losing his shit or whatever. He's crying or everything, and then another SpongeBob just slides in from the side of the screen, looks directly at the viewer, and just goes, "Oh all that glitters is not gold. But no, speaking more on the Hobbit thing, like I really like the Hobbit movies. I definitely don't like them as much as like the Lord of the Rings movies, because I love the Lord of the Rings movies. But the Hobbit movies, they weren't bad. At least in my opinion, I didn't think they were terrible. But I definitely would pick like the Lord of the Rings movies over that. And I actually, if I ever got the chance, I want to actually read Lord of the Rings, when I have 2 months to do nothing.
Yeah.
But I definitely like the Hobbit movies, so get stuffed, Screen Rant. Oh, hey, they put Twilight on here.
I've never watched The Hobbit in its
You've
entirety.
never seen The Hobbit?
Not in its entirety, no. I love J.R.R. Tolkien, but like...
Well, which ones have you seen? Like, have you seen any of the Lord of the Rings?
I have seen the Towers one.
2 Towers?
Yeah, the 2 Towers. I wanted to say the Twin Towers, but I was like, I don't feel like that's right.
So the first one is Fellowship of the Ring. The second one is 2 Towers. And then the last one is Return of the King.
Okay, so I have seen them all, but I'm going to be fully honest with you. I slept through most of them.
I mean, they're long enough movies. I mean, I don't blame you, but I definitely really liked Lord of the Rings.
I would like to read it. I think I could read it.
Mm-hmm.
Because the movie, it's the pacing of the movie that I can't.
What's happening down there? Shall I describe it to you?
Or should I
find you a box?
Wasn't that improvised?
I don't know if that was improvised or not, but I feel like it was definitely improvised. Going through more of this list, kind of moving on from that, they do have Twilight here, which we already touched on. The Book Thief, A Wrinkle in Time.
Okay. How dare you?
You have opinions about that?
A Wrinkle in Time was phenomenal. First of all, let me pull up my Kindle because I'll fucking tell you, I have the whole goddamn trilogy on here.
Based on the book of the same name by Madeleine L'Engle, A Wrinkle in Time is a classic science fantasy tale. After learning her astrophysicist father is being held captive on a distant planet deep in the grip of a universe-spanning evil, Meg Murray works with her highly intelligent younger brother, her classmate, and 3 astral travelers to save him. Now, what they thought? So, they're talking about the movie put out by Disney in 2018. Let's see. However, most of these important pieces of the novel appear to have been washed away in the movie as it prioritizes flashy visuals in favor of the source material's endearing qualities. That led to this being a miss with critics and audiences as it resulted in one of the biggest Hollywood box office bombs ever.
How dare you? Okay, so the first book was A Wrinkle in Time.
I mean, how can you hate on the movie? It had Oprah.
I will not sit here and take any Wrinkle in Time slander because the movie...
Bless you.
The movie was okay. I wouldn't say it was terrible. Hold on, this is going to bother me unless I pull up the books. Maybe it was just called A Wrinkle in Time. It's a quintet. But I thought the books had different names. Hold on. Let me look at Target. Target will tell me.
No, that's fine. It's, not like we're running a show here.
No, it's fine. Finish your tweet.
No, it's fine. Finish your tweet.
Yeah, so it's A Wrinkle in Time, A Wind in the Door, A Swiftly Tilting Planet, Many Waters, and An Acceptable Time are the books. And they were fabulous.
I mean, a lot of people, like a lot of critics, didn't seem to like Wrinkle in Time, so that's probably why they've only done one of these. But like, I haven't seen Wrinkle in Time. Like, I haven't watched it.
The thing is, with A Wrinkle in Time specifically, it was gonna be hard to do as a movie, just regardless. I think if
Oprah.
I think if somebody were to do it now with all the CGI and AI technology that we have available, I think it could be a really great movie.
And with Oprah.
Okay, well, I have some opinions about Oprah, but that's neither here nor there.
Going more through this list, I don't know if you have any more opinions, but I'm just moving through the list because there's only on 13. There's 13 more to go, with 13 being one we already talked about. Percy Jackson, Lightning Thief.
Mm-hmm.
The next one after that, The Time Traveler's Wife from 2009.
Oh my god, I loved The Time Traveler's Wife.
Time Traveler's Wife is a work of fantasy that balances science fiction and romance. The popular book follows a man who has an odd and fantastical genetic disorder that causes him to time travel throughout different periods and has no control over where and when he goes. He meets a woman and falls in love, and the two have to try to figure out how their story can continue with his condition. Only a few years after the book's release, a movie was made based on the story, and overall fans weren't happy with the adaptation. Okay, why weren't they happy? You gotta
I
give me that
never saw the
information,
movie, but the
Screaming.
book was 10 out of 10.
Came out in 2009, had Rachel McAdams, Eric Bana, Ron Livingston, Arliss Howard. Yeah, from I don't hear many people like talk about it other than just mentioning it in name.
Yeah.
Like, I never hear people be like, wow, The Time Traveler's Wife was so good. I always just hear like, oh yeah, this person was a Time Traveler's Wife. And, you know, just that be that.
I feel kind of bad because every book that we've talked about so far, except for Catcher in the Rye, I've been like 10 out of 10 would recommend. But honestly, I don't read a book if I'm not going to enjoy it.
Also, with this whole Time Traveler's Wife and the whole concept of somebody traveling through time or whatever, hasn't that been overdone in stories?
I think so, but the Time Traveler's Wife did it a little bit differently.
What's that one with Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock? Is it The Lake House?
Yeah.
I think. Where he puts something in a mailbox and like she gets it like years later.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like time travel is just a kind of a cheap cop out for like romance or whatever. A romance novel.
I love Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves, and I did not care for The Lake House.
Yeah, I didn't even watch it, and I don't really care to watch it. Oh, there she go, Googling again.
Yeah, because now it's gonna bug me. Oh, a young Sandra Bullock.
I just thought of the Family Guy joke where like Stewie took Rupert to see The Lake House, and he turns to Rupert. He's like, "You see, everything he puts in the mailbox, Sandra Bullock gets, you know, just a few years later." And it's just a scene like he looks around and then he just puts his dick in the mailbox, and then she opens the mailbox. She's like, "Oh, my Pepperidge Farms package has arrived."
So he is an architect living in 2004, and she's a doctor living in 2006, and they meet via letters left in the mailbox of the lake house where they both lived at separate points in time.
Oh, so that was the whole thing. They lived in the same house, but they could communicate.
The young Keanu Reeves.
I was to say, he was pretty...
Which makes sense, because it was 2006. Not that he looks any different. He's just got a beard and long hair now.
Like, he literally has the same face. He just grew long hair and a beard.
Literally.
Going more down this list. The Giver, 2014. The Giver is yet another movie adaptation that ignores the concepts that set the original story apart from the rest. The Giver is a popular young adult novel that focuses on a dystopian world that often asks the question of what it means to be an individual in a society of conformity. The novel is a moving and emotional journey, but the film feels hollow, and the sci-fi twists included for visual pleasure take away from the heart of the story. The characters, too, feel like empty shells, and not because of the colorless cinematography.
Okay, so that pretty much sums up my opinions.
Sums up your opinions?
I loved The Giver. The Giver was such a good, just an absolute masterpiece. The movie was...
2014, Meryl Streep, Odeya Rush, Brenton Thwaites. Taylor Swift was in it.
He was.
Alexander Skarsgård, Katie Holmes, Jeff Bridges. Interesting. All right, now their last 10 here. The Lovely Bones, 2009.
Oh, I just listened to a case about so do you know about the author about
You want to try that one more time?
Do you know about what happened to the author of The Lovely Bones?
Do you know the Muffin Man? No, I don't know about the author.
So she wrote the book based on her own life. Because,
Alice Sebold?
She was roped. And sent the wrong man to prison. he's out now, and I think they did end up finding and convicting the right guy. And if I remember right, she did reach out to the first guy and apologized. But yeah, she wrote The Lovely Bones based on what happened to her. Except in The Lovely Bones, the girl was murdered.
Let's see.
Good book.
The Lovely Bones is a seriously heartbreaking novel by Alice Sebold that tells the story of a young girl who was R-worded and murdered by a predator. The book and movie see her watching her grieving family try to cope with her death and trying to accept it herself in her own personal heaven. She also watches over her killer and reckons with wanting everyone to move on and wants revenge on her killer as she watches her father try to track him down. Although popular, it's a difficult story to read and even more difficult to watch. The reviews are mixed. It's not the kind of film that people want to rewatch, so has been forgotten to time. So basically that's why they think it's not a great adaptation, because it's a movie that doesn't really keep you coming back like, oh hey, let's watch this again.
Well, also she wrote another book called,
and I mean I don't blame her with the source material. Like it's kind of difficult.
She also wrote another book called The Luck or The Lucky or something like that, which is a similar story, but casting directors who were trying to make the movie were having a really hard time once they like read the script and read the synopsis and everything, because the perpetrator is supposed to be a black guy.
Yeah.
And one of the actors auditioned for the role and was offered the role, and then his agent was like, this is not going to be a good look for you. Don't take this. And then the actor has even said like, this was not going to represent people who look like me in a great light, so I just turned the role down.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that.
Oh, totally.
Love Rosie is the next one. Is this Love Rosie to 2014?
I don't know anything about that.
I don't either. A Walk to Remember 2002.
Oh, A Walk to Remember was so good.
Let's see. There have been many Nicholas Sparks novels.
I love Nicholas Sparks.
There have been many Nicholas Sparks novels adapted into movies with varying degrees of success, but A Walk to Remember wasn't well received. The most famous Nicholas Sparks adaptation is The Notebook, which is an extremely popular romantic drama movie that surpasses the book's popularity. The A Walk to Remember movie and the book are similar as both follow two completely different people who end up falling for each other, but their relationship is complicated by other factors that are revealed throughout the story. The film was negatively received, especially compared to the best Sparks movie adaptations.
First of all, I would argue that the last song was better than The Notebook.
Don't you have... Oh yeah, I'm looking at it right now. You have that on your shelf.
The last song?
Yeah, it's right there, the like baby blue cover.
Love Nicholas Sparks. The Notebook, The Last Song, A Bend in the Road, A Walk to Remember. I mean, that man is a fucking gift.
I don't think I remember The Notebook that well, but I just, what plays in my head immediately is the where they're in the rain. He's like, tell me what you want.
Well, that is the most famous scene, so yeah, that makes sense.
But
I do remember Walk to Remember, the movie I was really excited about, and then I saw it and I was like, it was mid.
You're just like, all right. I'm over it now.
It was I guess.
Going more through this list. The Dark Tower 2017. It's a Stephen King adaptation of a Stephen King book.
Oh, I love Stephen King.
Actors in this are Matthew McConaughey, Tom Taylor, Idris Elba, Jackie Earle Haley, Abby Lee, Catherine Winnick, Michael Barberi, Fran Kranz. Let's see. The main issue with the film is its attempt to fit such a large volume of information into a single film. As a result, the plot and messages are thin to the point where even the appearances of Idris Elba and Matthew McConaughey don't help. See, that's saying a lot about a movie. If you put Matthew McConaughey and Idris,
movie I'm thinking of,
and Idris Elba in it, and even they don't save the movie. But yeah, like I said, Dark Tower it's a Stephen King story, which that could be a whole episode in itself, just Stephen King movie adaptations. I don't remember Dark Tower at all.
I don't either. Oh, The Gentleman. Okay, that's what I was thinking of.
Ooh, this one where I haven't really seen the movie or don't remember the movie, but I do remember the book. Aragon, 2006.
I neither read the book or watched the movie, so I don't have an opinion.
Aragon is based on the book series of the same name, part of a more extensive book series known as the Inheritance Cycle. In his homeland of Eladacia, a farm boy named Aragon happens upon a dragon's egg. This egg leads him on a journey to protect his home from tyrannical monarch Gabatorix and a dark sorcerer named Durza. However, Aragon discovers that the egg contains a mighty dragon named Saphira that he bonds with, and with the help of friends and family, Aragon will challenge the Empire and do what he can to keep the dragon safe. So, I think that's definitely why I remember it. It's a book about dragons.
You and your dragons.
Dragon Tales, Dragon Tales.
It's almost time for Dragon Tales.
Based on the first installment of the Inheritance Cycle by Christopher Paolini, Aragon came on the... Sure. Aragon came on the heels of a fantasy rush that included the likes of Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings. In the case of Aragon, the plot was completely altered. The magic of the world within the books was lost entirely, leaving only a shell of what could have been an incredibly successful franchise. I definitely agree with that, because I remember reading the book, and the book was like, I mean, of course, I was a little kid when I read it, so I was like, wow, dragons!
Dragons!
Oh my god, dragons! Next on this list, Vampire Academy, 2014.
The Vampire Academy series was good. I did read that, and I did enjoy it, but I never watched the movie.
Though the books are not exactly considered great literature, the film takes the story to a level that's even campier.
I beg your unbelievable pardon, not great literature, my fucking ass.
The film takes the story to a level that's even campier, and not in a good way. The story of Rose Hathaway and her life at St. Vladimir's Academy is dulled, and its special effects give it a cheap, waxy look. The vampire flick doesn't utilize any new or unique tropes, and given the year of the release, the movie could certainly have used something to help it stand out from the rest. Yeah, I haven't seen it either, so I really have no comment on it.
The Vampire Academy was a good series.
Next on this list, number 4, The Scarlet Letter from 1995. Scarlet Letter is a novel that explores the severity of adultery and the public shaming that goes in hand with it. The story is fraught with emotion, given its prevalence of pain, guilt, and revenge. Unfortunately, the 1995 adaptation cannot be saved by its all-star cast. The film suffers from a case of overstuffed, over-sexualized romance, which ends up sending a message that contradicts that of the book. The Mortal Instruments City of Bones, 2013. I keep hearing about this, but I've never actually seen...
That's on my TBR list, I think.
To be read?
Yeah.
I've heard a lot about this, but I've never actually read or seen it. Who's in this one? Aiden? No, nobody I know. Like, I recognize none of these names. Number 2, All the King's Men, 2006. It's a book by Robert Penn Warren, and the movie, like I said, came out in 2006. Sean Penn, Jude Law, Anthony Hopkins, Kate Winslet, Mark Ruffalo, Patricia Clarkson.
That is an all-star cast.
With a clear absence of the political depth the book was built on, it fails miserably as a faithful representation of a great book. Okay. And the number 1, the last one I got on this list, the Divergent series, Allegiant.
I never read the Divergent series, but I know my sister did, and she loved them.
I don't think I read it, but I did read... I think I did see the first movie, and I like most of the stuff. There's nothing that really stood out to me. I don't remember anything from the movie.
I just remember that Shailene Woodley is in it.
Yeah, that she's in it, and nothing really stood out to me with that. Because wasn't it, to me, it kind of just seemed like a Hunger Games ripoff in a way.
It kind of was a Hunger Games ripoff a little bit.
All right, well, I guess...
I did have some strong opinions, but what else is new?
I guess since this episode was about adaptations, we could probably keep that going for the rest of the month. Because I think I got an idea for next week's episode.
Is it video game to movie adaptations?
No.
Because I was legitimately just thinking that.
Yes. But yeah, that's probably, that's what you guys got to look forward to next week. But if you guys agree with us, disagree with us, let us know on social media, link in the link tree in the description.
And I'll end this episode on my end by saying, not that anybody cares, but my ACOTAR book series was just shipped. I'm so pumped.
Is that where you were like pumping about earlier?
Yeah.
While I was talking about something, I just see you going, yeah!
Yeah. ACOTAR is A Court of Roses and Thorns.
Ah, okay.
It's essentially fairy smut, and I'm very excited to read it.
But I guess with that being said, like I said, interact with us on social medias, link in the link tree in the description. Do positive things out there. Drink your liquids of any sort. If it's alcohol, be careful with it. I've been Cameron.
I've been Kate.
And as always, we'll see you in the next one. Nerd
Nerds
out.